Hi, the internet. Welcome to the What Else Show. I'm your host, Robert. This is Bethany.
Hi, internet.
And today we've got a brand new What Else Show for you. Bethany, what else are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about the first episode of The Brady Bunch.
That's right. We watched the first episode of The Brady Bunch, aired in 1969. Yes. Give us some details on that, Bethany.
The first episode aired September 26th, 1969. The last episode aired March 8th, 1974. So they had 5 seasons.
Yeah, that didn't go very long.
Didn't go very
longer,
long.
The Brady Bunch.
Yeah. 117 episodes.
A lot of episodes.
Yeah, a lot of episodes. And a movie or two.
That was an ABC program?
ABC, yes, on ABC. And we watched it on Hulu.
That's right. We watched it on Hulu. I knew it was on ABC. She wasn't saying it for some reason. Anyways.
Okay.
It's not important who's in it. Florence Henderson and then the other guy.
Mike Reed.
Right.
And Ann Davis as the incomparable Alice.
Sure.
Yes.
What's your history with the Brady Bunch?
I remember I loved the Brady Bunch growing up, but I had never seen, I don't think I saw like the whole first season.
You watched it while it was airing? While it was
No.
Okay.
No.
I feel like I watched it Nick at Night.
Yeah. But I didn't see like the whole, I picked up watching it probably, Nick at Night, reruns.
I feel like this is a show that came on in the
older.
middle of the day in the summer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, with like Gilligan's Island.
And it was like hot outside.
Yeah.
And you're inside and like, this show sucks. There's nothing else on.
Yeah. No, I really liked watching the
Andy
Brady
Griffith.
Bunch. Yep, Andy
Those.
Griffith and
Yeah.
Mayberry RFD and the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, so I have
Yes.
the Beverly Hillbillies
Oh, yes.
show used to come on.
Yes. Were they like all in the same block
They were
or something?
They were just on
like-
TV in reruns
Yeah.
in like the middle of the day during summer. That's when I can remember
weird
watching them.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Like network TV though.
Yeah,
It
network
was-
TV.
Yeah, it wasn't cable. It was just regular network TV
Yeah.
with reruns. Yeah.
This is what you had to watch before like Jerry Springer would come on.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's my history with it. I can never remember. I've seen a bunch of episodes, but I never remember liking the Brady Bunch. I think it's just too early, too corny for it to
A little corny.
have ever
Yeah.
been good in my eyes. Some people love it.
Yeah, I do remember liking it. I don't know that I ever like loved the Brady Bunch, but I like the nostalgia of watching the Brady Bunch because I do remember like in the middle of the day and my friend and I would go swimming and we'd go back to her house and we'd watch the Brady Bunch and eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, it's a real peanut
Like that
butter
was
and
the
jelly
thing.
sandwich show.
It is a very, yeah, for sure.
So should we jump into what happens in the first episode of the Brady Bunch?
Yes.
That aired in 1969?
1969, yeah.
Premiered in 1969.
Yeah, so crazy. Okay. Well, we've watched older shows.
All right. So the Brady Bunch opens up with the classic Brady Bunch intro.
The intro. And the intro of the Brady Bunch is so unique because it tells the whole story.
That's not
Pretty much.
unique for that time, I don't think. I mean, I feel like I keep watching these shows and I keep waiting for it to happen. They're going to tell the whole story of the show in the intro. But we finally have one that does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lovely lady. She's got 3 girls.
Yep.
There's 4 men living all together. And they were all alone.
Yeah. With Alice.
Yeah, with
They
Alice.
lived with Alice. Yeah.
And then the squares.
Tells
I feel
the
like
whole
that's
story.
Been parodied
Yeah, the
1,000
squares.
times.
Yes. Yeah. Very much it is cemented in pop culture.
Yeah. Classic.
Yes. It is very
Iconic.
classic. Definitely.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Iconic.
Brady Bunch starts out. We're at, I want to call him Mike Seaver, but he's not Mike Seaver.
Wrong show.
Mike Brady's house.
Mike Brady.
Alice is there.
Yes.
Mike Seaver's 3 boys are there.
You better stop that.
Mike Brady's 3 boys are there. They're
Yes.
all there eating
Yes.
breakfast. Mr. Brady is nervous because today's his wedding day.
Yes. We'll just call him Mike.
Big old Mike Seaver.
Big ol'-
They've got some banter around the table, but Mr. Brady is very nervous. So he's putting too much sugar in his coffee and he's dropping things. And That's pretty much where we are in that scene.
And and we know he's going to get married. Like they're very clear. It's his wedding day.
It's his wedding day.
Yeah, and the boys are clear that they really like Carol.
Yes.
Yes, there's not really any animosity. They're like, yeah, she's tops or something. Said something weird.
The bee's knees.
The bee's knees.
They didn't say that. We cut over to Carol.
Yes.
They say her maiden name, but I don't remember.
I don't remember what her maiden name is either.
But they do say it.
They do say it. So we're at Carol's house and she's getting ready for the wedding and there's some banter with her 3 girls and Mike calls her and we learned from the 3 girls that they like Mike, so there's no weird animosity drama there either. So it just seems like everybody likes everybody else.
Yeah, the girls are wearing some fantastic pajamas with robes, but they're like a set.
Yes,
fantastic.
They looked
Who
awesome.
wears robe pajama sets anymore?
Nobody.
Great. Let's bring them back into style.
Yeah, bring that back. So,
what do they talk about on the phone? Just, are you ready for our wedding day?
Are you ready? Are you nervous?
That's right. They're talking about their nervousness.
Yes, they're both. And then she says, "Did you take a tranquilizer?"
Yeah, that was crazy, right?
Yeah, and I was like,
and he's like, "Yep, already
did." Like, what?
And then she's like, "Why don't you take another tranquilizer?"
Take another one. Wait a second. It's not really, really talk about
tranquilizers. Were people just taking tranquilizers in 1969?
She specifically said a tranquilizer.
Yeah. Is somebody going to roll by and dart him in the neck? That's the only way I know tranquilizers.
Wow. I don't know. So, they're like talking about being nervous. The next scene is Mike Brady helping his youngest son Bobby finish getting dressed for the wedding, and they have kind of a little heart-to-heart about the boys' mom.
About what is mom?
The boys' mom. Mike's wife, so it sounds like maybe she died. I got the impression that she probably died. They don't
died. Bobby does not have his mother's picture on his dresser like he usually does, and Mike notices that and he's like, "Hey, where's your mother's picture?" And he's like, "I put it away because I didn't want Carol to not like it," or he was afraid Carol wouldn't like it. Him and his father have a heart to heart about it.
Yes.
And he says it's fine.
A situation arises where the boys, they're all getting ready to go, and the boys want to bring the dog to the wedding. They want to bring the dog Tiger.
What a stupid
to the wedding, and Mike argues with them, and it's like that's we can't take the dog to the wedding. And the next scene, we see them in the car, and the dog is in the front seat.
Yeah, they cut to. It's like, we can't take the dog to the wedding. Cut. The dog is in the car.
There's the dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
They show up at Carol's house.
Yes.
No, that's not what happens next. We're at Carol's house. Carol is talking to her parents, and they're just going back and forth about how they're going to pay for the wedding, basically. And there's a knock at the door, and Cindy wants to answer the door because she thinks it's a telegram. They told her to answer the door because they thought it was a telegram. Right. And she shows up, and she's disappointed that it's Mike Brady and his 3 kids.
Yes. And the dog.
And
so there's a conversation at the door what they're going to do with the dog, because Carol and her girls have a cat. And so Carol says, well, we'll put the cat in the girls' room and Tiger can come in and it'll be fine.
But Mike says, no, we'll put the dog in the car. He tells Peter and Greg and Bobby to put the dog in the car.
So they do that. They roll down the window a little bit and they leave the dog in the car. So there's a little bit of banter. Mike and Carol are walking around their yard. Cindy and Bobby head into the house. They go upstairs to go play, or whatever it is little tiny kids do. Mike and Carol are talking to Carol's parents for a little bit, and then Mike and Carol kind of check out the wedding decorations together, and you really get the impression that they really are in love.
Yes, they're really telling us.
They're really telling us how happy all 8 of them
going to be.
Yes, are going to be.
They're not showing it. They're definitely telling us.
Yes, telling. So then the next scene is the wedding.
Right. They're doing their nuptials.
Yes.
And we cut to the dog in the car. And we see the dog roll down the window.
He sticks his paw on the little thing.
Yeah, but I don't think that... I think they show the dog stick his paw on the button to roll down the window, but I think right next to it is like a crank. So did they have windows that were a button and a crank? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know if they had. I don't think so.
Anyway,
but I don't know. Who knows? It was the 60s.
The dog.
I wasn't around.
The dog gets the window down by magic. And goes right after the cat that's right there in a cat house.
Don't say cat house.
Okay, a house for cats.
Yes.
That's in the backyard where the wedding is happening.
Yes.
Dog goes right after it.
Yes. And the two animals cause total pandemonium.
A real ruckus.
The food gets ruined. The dishes are broken.
The dog is chasing the cat all around the wedding goers, right?
Yes, just all the guests.
Chasing them back and forth. They're all over. And the kids and the parents are trying to catch and stop the dog and cat. Mm-hmm. And they are useless.
So useless.
Tell me if I'm using this right. They are feckless.
Oh.
You like that?
Yeah. That's a good word.
It's something I reserve for when somebody is so useless, saying they are useless is not enough.
It's not enough. They are, yes.
They are completely feckless. They're like, tiger, mommy, man.
They're screaming and they're yelling at the dog and they're like, Alice, help us get the dog. And she's whistling really loud. And I mean, it was just chaos. It was utter chaos. And the grown-ups were not helping at all.
They're just yelling.
Yeah, they were just yelling.
I guess it's a show and they had to make sure the dog and cat ran wild. But
yeah, just...
they could have done something else to not just make them look like idiots.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad. So
they're chasing
pandemonium.
The cat and dog around, and the cat and dog start to knock over all of the decorations and all the tables, and they go to knock down the cake, and Mike Brady saves the cake from falling.
Saves the cake.
But then Carol goes over there and says, good job saving the cake, and he tips over, and the cake is all over him.
Falls. And it's totally her fault that he fell.
It's his fault that he fell.
I feel like it's totally her fault because it seemed like she pushed him.
And she just put her hand on his shoulder. He shouldn't have grabbed the cake. He should have grabbed the table. Idiot.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He should have grabbed the table. Yeah.
It's a big cake. He doesn't know what's holding the cake up at the bottom.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if it's pliable.
That's true.
What happens next?
He should have grabbed the table.
Oh, they both yell at their kids.
They both yell at the kids. Yes.
And I'm going to say undeservedly.
Yeah, it was so, the whole situation was so ridiculous. And he yells at the boys and she yells at the girls, hurts their feelings. Yes.
Yeah, because it's not like they were able to get the dog and cat either.
Right.
The kids did exactly what they told them to do with those animals. Mike and Carol are off to their honeymoon. Is that where we're at?
Yes. They, again, next scene is they're on their way to their honeymoon. They're at their honeymoon.
They arrive at the hotel and they have a back and forth with the concierge.
Probably just he seemed like the manager. He was very well dressed, and they're checking into their
hotel with some guy.
Yes.
And there was a weird back and forth there that I did not quite understand.
Yes. So Mike Brady signs in because he was like, oh, would you like to sign in? And so he signs in and he said, Mike and Carol Brady and family. And then the front desk guy was like, you wrote and family, but you asked for the honeymoon suite. He was like, oh yeah, the kids aren't here. And then the guy behind the front desk was like, oh, but you wanted the honeymoon suite. And Carol was like starting to explain, and Mike stops her and was kind of smiling and was like, oh, he just doesn't get the modern generation or whatever, like kind of messing with the guy.
Yeah, I don't understand the back and forth.
It was weird. Yeah, like are they poking fun at people who think that having kids out of wedlock is bad? Like, I don't know, but the front desk guy seemed very put out by the fact that they're talking about they have
judgy.
Kids. Super judgy.
Yeah,
super judgy.
I guess maybe he didn't know it was their second wedding, and I guess he thought that they had kids when they were not married, and now they're having their honeymoon.
Yeah,
I guess.
I got that impression too. So I feel like that's what we were meant to think.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, that guy's so judgmental.
This was such a short part of the show, but we're spending a lot of time talking.
We are, because it was such a weird interaction. It was very weird. I agree. Okay, so they're in their hotel room. They're having some champagne. They're having some, romantic banter. They're hugging, they're kissing, and they're hanging out talking about the kids.
Right.
They're talking about their kids.
They feel bad that they yelled at the kids.
Yes, they have a lot of guilt about yelling at their kids. The next scene, we see the girls in their bedroom, and they're getting ready to go to sleep, and Cindy is crying, and she's talking to her doll about everything that happened, and Mommy yelled at us, and we were just trying to help, and like, why did Mommy yell at us? And it cuts back to Mike and Carol, and Mike says, oh no, the kids are really resilient, and I'm sure they've got big smiles right now. And it cuts to the boys, and the boys are very crestfallen and like super depressed. Yeah. And they're trying to like eat pieces of, cake and milk, and Alice is trying to help talk them through it. But they're like, Dad yelled at us. He didn't even yell at the girls. He likes them better. And so they're upset about that.
So we cut back to Mike and Carol, and they decide, you know what, let's get out of here. Let's go pick up the kids. Mm-hmm. Let's stop the honeymoon and let's go pick up the kids.
They really miss the kids, and they feel really bad that they yelled at them.
Right. So they stop by Carol's house first to pick up the girls. Then they stop by Mike's house and pick up the boys. Mm-hmm. Then they get back to the hotel. Alice and the dog show up, yes, and they brought the cat. So there's like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they're all fighting, trying to get up the stairs. I don't know if he got like separate rooms, or they didn't really get into that.
We have no idea. We have no idea.
They're all fighting to get up the stairs.
Yep.
And then Mike yells at them like they're in a military. He gives them like a real military call out and makes them line up and stuff.
Yeah. Well, they were so disorderly and chaotic.
And then he has them march up the stairs, and it's really dumb, and I hate it. It's really corny.
Very corny.
And I believe that's where the show ends. Anything else happen?
Nope. That's the last thing.
Okay. And that's the show.
Then that's the show.
It's not a good show.
But yeah, based on the first episode, I would not have watched this show. I think there are other better, older shows than this show.
How does this show so popular? I guess it was the only thing on.
Yeah, it's 1969. There's nothing on. And it's like a family-oriented show.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a show that like families could watch together. But that doesn't mean it's a good show.
No, I didn't.
It's iconic. And it's rooted, it's got a place in our hearts and in pop culture. But it's not a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the movies that came out in the 2000s a lot better. Can you point anything out? Any notes of any points of interest in the show?
Point of interest: I did not know that Alice originally worked for Mike Brady. I thought that they got married, moved in together, and then like hired Alice. But Alice was always with Mike Brady and his boys. So that was a fun little piece of trivia that I didn't know.
And Carol is like a stay-at-home mom, right? She didn't have a job.
I don't think so.
So Carol and Alice take care of all 6 of those kids and the dad, basically?
Yeah. And the dad's an architect.
Yeah.
Mike Brady is an architect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing I did notice in this show is that they kept talking about Carol and her daughters moving into his house. And what we see in this first episode is a different kitchen than we see later in the show. So I don't know if they move into that house and then move somewhere else or what happens, but it's a different kitchen in this first episode.
Yeah, I do feel like it's a different house.
It is a different
in later episodes, it's a different house. So I know, like, I was very curious if that
was like part of the show where they move to a new house.
Do they do a series of episodes about that? Because in later episodes, I remember them saying that Mike Brady designed the house that they live in. And it's got that big, that iconic big staircase and the double door entry. And I remember all of that. And that was not this house. The rooms were real small.
The kitchen's real small.
The kitchen looks completely different. Yeah. So I think eventually they get a different house.
The kids are very young in this first episode.
They are.
They're all like little kids.
Little.
Yeah.
Even Marsha and Greg.
Yeah. You could like carry them little.
So tiny. They're so tiny.
I don't know how old they are, but they're like carryable. You know?
Right. Right.
If you needed to, you could put Greg on your shoulders.
You really could.
He can't walk anymore.
He's little.
Yeah.
He's little. Yeah.
They're all little.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Because by the end, they're like going off to college and stuff.
Yeah. Like the episodes that I remember were ones where Greg and Marsha were in high school.
Yeah.
And, in the first episode, they were so little.
So little. They had to be like 6th grade.
Yeah. Maybe even younger.
Maybe even younger.
Because Bobby and Cindy are super tiny.
Yeah.
They're super tiny.
Let's shout out to Bobby's jacked up teeth.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty jacked up.
He needed braces. Yeah. Poor kid. I'm surprised he could eat.
What else do we have to say about this show?
Not much else. Do we want to give our final thoughts and...
Oh, yeah. Do you recommend people watch this show?
I don't recommend people watch this show. There are better, more entertaining vintage shows to watch. It's not a good show.
Yeah, I also don't recommend this show. Remember it in nostalgia where it belongs.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try and watch it now. It's just it doesn't hold up. It's too corny. It's too schmaltzy. Mm-hmm. They're always trying to have a moment, and you're like, God.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I also don't recommend it. Keep it in your memories. It's better there.
I have nothing else to say.
Should I take us out?
Yeah, take us out.
Thanks for watching, Internet. You can follow the show on Twitter at What Else Show. We're also on Instagram at The What Else Show. Please like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. If you have a comment about the Brady Bunch or any other bunch, go ahead and leave that in the comments. Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet. And
no ums. No ums.
So